I went camping with three of my buddies, John, Luke, and Simon. We do this every year as a kind of a bro trip to reconnect with each other. We decided to go on our yearly camping trip in late October. We ended up in the same camping spot in the woods where we usually go, and find the same spot from last year. The first day was fantastic. We explored the area, we set up our spot, and we went fishing. By the time we had realised the sun was setting, we had set up a campfire, and by that time we were already cooking our fish that we had caught earlier that day. And after one too many beers, we decided to sleep. It was a perfect end to the day. As we finished the rest of our beers, we were chatting and having a good time with each other. John suddenly stopped speaking, turned behind him, and went very pale. Me and Simon were a bit confused by this, but John claimed he had heard something. I said it was probably most likely the drink playing mind games on him. He turned around to me and said no, it definitely wasn't. He was scaring me a little by this point, so I decided to talk about how my job was going, hoping it would put his mind off of what he thought he had heard. He lost interest about what he thought he had heard, and joined in the conversation. We got tired from chatting and joking around, so we decided to put the fire out and head into the tents. We had 2 tents set up as Simon said he didn't like sharing rooms. So, me and John shared the tent. Just as our only light source, besides our flashlights, went out, I heard a slight whimper. I thought it was Simon making silly sounds as he slept. John then turns to me and says, "Did you hear that?" I said in a laughing tone, "Yeah, it's probably just Simon making weird sounds." John looks at me straight in the eye and said, "That wasn't Simon." I was a little bit shaken by this, thinking back to the story my father had told me. I pulled out a small pocket knife, as it was the only source of protection we had. I was on the very end of the tent with John. We both were as silent as can be, listening out for that sound again. After 10 minutes of listening, I got tired and went to sleep. I have no idea how long I was sleeping for when it happened again. The whimper. It was louder and longer this time. It's hard to describe the actual sound, apart from it sounded terrifying. I was frozen. Me and John didn't move a muscle. Out of nowhere, Simon rushes into our tent. He didn't say a word, but me and John both knew he had also heard the sound. The pocket knife was clenched in my hand. As I finally mustered up the strength to move and pick my head out of the tent, that's when we hear. We heard footsteps coming from outside the tent, as if someone was going to walk up and enter the tent. John suddenly shouted, "Get out of here!" The footsteps stopped, and we could hear them quietly fade away. We all laid there the rest of the night in pure fear, thinking whoever was out there was still there waiting. The sun finally came up, and as soon as it did, we packed everything we could and went, leaving a lot of stuff behind. We all had a feeling we were still being watched. We've never been camping since.